It's a really good year to be in the market for a 7-seat SUV, and Nissan is gonna bling it. I mean, bring it. So let's jump right into it. When Nissan first revealed the photos of the Terra as the X-Terra in the Middle East, well, I was a little unimpressed because photos on a phone or on a laptop, they don't do it justice. But now, looking at it, it actually looks pretty nice. The execution is really good with the look of the Terra. I like what Nissan did with the headlights, with the quad LEDs, the fog lamp bezels, the reshaped bumper, and the grille. Yes, there is a bit more chrome, but the target market of a vehicle like the Terra, well, they do prefer a bit more chrome. As far as facelifts go, this one is pretty extensive. From this angle, there's not really much to talk about with the new Terra. The new wheel design, the highway terrain tires, these are not all-terrain, even though this is a 4x4. Nissan did add this vent here, one for either side, but it's not functional. There's nothing venting there, there's no holes in there, so it's really more for design. It does, however, give you a nice place to index if you want to install a snorkel, albeit on the other side because the intake is over there. Here, nothing much has changed, but the real polarizing part of the Terra is that rear. Do you like the chrome and how they redesigned the center? Personally, I prefer the pre-facelift version. The issues with the Terra don't actually just stop with the look. A lot of the things with the tailgate, actually most of the issues are actually with the tailgate and the rear. So for one, do you see any recesses or handles from which to pull up the Terra? None. Even when you put your hand here behind the R, which also does not look very centered, but mathematically it actually is. But when you pull it up here, there's not much leverage to get the tailgate open. Nissan did not put a recess on the bumper to get your hand in there. You do have this handle here, but that's only for closing. It gives you that leverage, but not when you're opening it. Also, there's no motorized tailgate option in this vehicle, unlike the Fortuner LTD and the Montero Sport GT 4-wheel drive. The final issue with the back is the height of the load space. This is 37 inches from the road. It's pretty high, and it means a little bit more effort to get stuff in there, especially if you're talking about heavy items that you bought at the mall or something. But other than that, it's pretty much all uphill from here because folding down the third row is very easy and very flat. You just pull these straps and you're good. The width of the load space is 44 inches. The length from here up to the back of the second row is about 42 inches. Now, from here up to the back of the driver's seat, it's 79 inches. That is a lot of cargo space and very, very flat. As you can see, there's a lot going on with the interior of the new Terra, particularly the dashboard. Now, when Nissan launched the Navara a few months ago, we were wondering why they retained the dashboard, but thankfully for the Terra, they changed it all up. It looks really nice, especially when you try one out for yourself. The upholstery is also new. The color combinations they chose are also new. A lot of trim pieces are new. Except for the doors. The doors haven't changed much. The one thing I do miss are those cup holders on the flanks of the dashboard to serve as a way to cool down your drinks. You don't get that anymore in this new model. Now for the driving controls. This one has the new D-cut steering wheel, which I really do like. The new buttons feel really great, and when you're doing a 3-point turn, you won't accidentally hit the horn button anymore because it's all right here. This one also gets the improved instrument cluster with your tachometer, speedometer, fuel, and then your temperature gauge. It has a new multi-info display right there in the middle, just like on the Nissan Navara, the 2021 model. One of the key features here is that apart from your fuel economy and all those other displays, this one has the new and improved Nissan Intelligent Mobility Package. So you get blind spot warning, lane departure warning, even intelligent emergency braking. Yes, Nissan likes to use intelligent on a lot of their vehicles, so bear with me on that. And also forward collision warning. That is something actually surprising because normally I turn off these intelligent collision or forward collision warning systems because, like for example, on the Ford Everest, it cries bloody murder whenever you're in close quarters kind of traffic. In this one, no, it's more subtle, it's not so intrusive, but it will warn you. So I appreciate that and I keep it on, one of the rare times that I actually do. Surprisingly, this one does not have adaptive cruise control. It has the regular cruise control, but that's okay as well. When it comes to the rear view camera system, there are two ways to actually use one. For starters, you can use the rear view mirror. So when you put it into night mode, if someone's dazzling you from behind, it will switch to a rear view camera mounted on the rear glass. Very useful. If you want to use a camera for parking, you can pop it into reverse so you get that view. And right now we have one of our guys walking around to show you the view, and it will also warn you if that person is getting close. It's actually very, very useful when it comes to maneuvering in traffic. See? It's now highlighting where that person is, where that obstacle is, so you don't hit anything with your new Terra. One of the bigger upgrades with the Terra is this new multimedia system. It's a lot clearer, it looks a lot better, and a lot sharper when it comes to the image quality. It has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Bluetooth, USB actually here, and even USB-C. Really nice. It does also have satellite navigation. But one of the things I really like is the addition of the Bose speaker system for the Terra. The audio quality is much better and much more bass. There is, however, a unit under the passenger seat, so if you like putting stuff under there, it's not gonna go under there. So Nissan revised this whole area right here. The cup holders, for example, they're deeper, so it's good for your phone or really tall drinks. They also get wireless charging right over here. That's a good feature to have. They revised the shifter of the Terra, as well as this portion right here. So you get your hill descent control, which we won't activate now. You get your 4x4 diff lock for the rear. There's no front diff lock. That's really more of an option for more extreme off-roading. And then you get these two buttons here for folding down the rear seats. Oh, sorry boys, this Terra has a unique feature because it has an HDMI port at the third row, so you can hook up your mini PlayStation and play a lot of games like they were on this 11-inch drop-down screen. So now with the hood open, we can show you what Nissan changed with the mechanicals of the Nissan Terra. Just kidding, they didn't change anything here really. The engine is still the same. It's 2.5 liter with 190 horsepower and 450 Newton meters of torque. It's still mated to a 7-speed automatic, and in this version it is 4-wheel drive, and you can select it via the knob on the center console. Looking around the engine bay, yeah, you won't spot any obvious changes. If you want to, you can look at the rear wheels because those are now disc brakes, not drums, so that's a welcome upgrade. Another upgrade, there is one here, but it's not really that obvious. It's actually the power steering unit. Nissan says they swapped it out for a quick gear ratio power steering unit in this vehicle, but we'll show you later when we drive it if it actually makes a difference. Just once, I'd like to have a day when we can test a car with no rain, but it's not the season for that. But not really a problem. So if the exterior redesign of the Terra is not your thing, don't worry, you're not alone. Me too. But when it comes to the interior, I think Nissan knocked it out of the park. Because, well, I've already mentioned the dashboard. I love it. The seats with the new quilted leather, love that too. But particularly the steering wheel. It's actually a lot better because I like the new shape, the D-cut. I like the leather on it. But particularly the redesign of the horn button. That is a big thing. It may not seem like it, but when you do drive a Terra or a Navara every day, when you make a three-point turn or a U-turn, there is a chance that you might hit the horn button. I know I have, but there's no risk of that in the new Terra because of the revised horn button here. The new touchscreen on the Terra is also a big improvement. The video quality or the screen quality is really crisp, really clear. I think it's almost comparable to the ones we can find in Geely and even the European brands. But the big improvement here is also the audio quality. It's clear and it's got quite a bit of bass. Now I'd love to play something for you, but I think Facebook or YouTube will mute our music because it's not our music. But nevertheless, the improvement is there. And if you do get a chance to drive a Terra, bring some good music with you so you can test it out for yourself. Now, when it comes to the driving experience, I can't really tell if there are any mechanical changes, at least from the feel behind the steering wheel. It seems to be largely the same. If I was to point to something, maybe the NVH has improved a little bit because even when you pass by, let's say, a loud jeepney or when a loud motorcycle passes you by, including a Harley Davidson earlier, it's actually fairly quiet in here, which is a nice plus considering their target market, which is families and, well, families. So that brings us to the ride, which is actually one of the bigger selling points for the Nissan Terra. And when I first got this vehicle a couple of days ago, I thought the ride had taken a turn for the worse because, well, ang tagtag eh. But now it's not. And the reason behind that is because I checked the TPMS or the tire pressure monitoring system built into the multi-info display of the Terra. And when I checked that, it was reading 280 kilopascals in front or about 41 psi and 270 kilopascals in the back, which is about 40. That's way too high, and that tells me it's shipping pressure, and I confirmed it when I looked at the mileage. This had only done 69 kilometers overall since it was made. So once I lowered it down to the recommended 240 kPa or about 35 psi, oh my god, the ride improved a lot. It was like butter. Whether you go on concrete or on asphalt, the improvement was big. And yeah, thankfully, the ride of the Terra is still as good as before, maybe even a little bit better. So safety is one of the bigger things with the new Terra. So you still get your 360 camera, 6 airbags, ABS, stability control, all that good stuff. But it gets more NIM features. We've already mentioned before, this one has always had that smart rear view mirror, which we have always liked. But they added in the automatic emergency braking. So that means the Terra can brake automatically if you kind of didn't react to a vehicle in front of you. This one has lane departure warning and the blind spot monitoring, but strangely enough, Nissan didn't fit it with adaptive cruise control, you know, the kind that maintains the distance of the vehicle ahead, and it makes highway driving really, really easy, maybe even too easy. So yeah, this one doesn't come with it, but that's all well and good. I barely use it anyway. It's actually a shame that Nissan didn't work on improving the mechanicals of the vehicle, particularly the powertrain. What I'm referring to is if you've driven or own a Terra or even a Navara, you'll know that the vehicle doesn't seem to be optimal or optimized for the city speeds. So when it comes to low speed city driving, I'm talking about maybe 30-40 kilometers per hour or slower, the vehicle isn't as efficient as it could be because the transmission is holding on to the gear, usually fourth or third, a little bit longer. The Terra makes max torque at 2000 RPM, but a lot of the competitor models are already doing it at 1600 RPM, 1500, 1800, so it's a bit lower. It may not seem like much, but it does make a big difference. in terms of fuel economy, and it's actually proven because with this Terra, we're only averaging around 8.2 kilometers per liter in urban driving. That's at an average speed of around 21 or 22 kilometers per hour overall. It improves to around 13 when it comes to highway driving, but again, when it comes to highway driving, everyone's pretty much efficient anyway. But what matters more was the way it's being driven around town. And if had Nissan made some changes to the powertrain, they could have improved the fuel economy of the vehicle overall. Since there are no changes to the mechanicals of the vehicle, then we're not expecting any changes to the way the vehicle performs off-road, because we're kind of restricted as to where we can go. But that's not actually a bad thing, because, well, we've proven the performance of the Terra off-road in many different occasions, and even with the stock highway tires or highway terrain tires that this one does still have, like before. So that's not really a problem, whether it's the lahar beds or on the sand dunes, so long as you're driving it sensibly and with a little bit of knowledge of off-roading, you should be okay. At $2.339 million, is the Nissan Terra VL 4x4 worth it? Well, I did find some issues with the tailgate, with the powertrain. Nothing really major, but they could be better. But overall, the execution of the new Terra is actually really good. I like what they did with the look, even though there's a bit too much bling for my liking. The interior with the added functionality, the better speakers, the better look, better materials, those are very much appreciated in a vehicle of this class by many of its customers. What really remains is for you to figure out if the Terra is a good fit for you, and you can only find out when you test drive. By the time you see this video, the Terra will already be out at showrooms, so book your test drive so you can try one out for yourself. Guys, this is Vince of AutoIndustriya. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to be safe, and please do like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.